Hey everybody, did you know you can go to ColinMullen.com in order to get art and art prints? That's why I made the website, ColinMullen.com. So, for this week's painting, I decided, hey, I'm just going to clean up this one that I did a little while ago, and I got it all cleaned up, and I finished it, and, fixed all the issues that I saw with it, and then I transferred the files over to my computer, and the first, 75-80% of it just was no longer saved on my computer. I guess I deleted it because I thought there was no chance of me salvaging it, and now it's actually good. So here's a completely different painting that I did pretty much the same thing with. There's a lot of paintings that I'm just like, God, that's not good enough. I don't know. This doesn't meet my level of quality, and looking back, this one's okay. It's still got some problems. It's mostly just me trying to learn how to use the palette knife, and there's better examples of me having done this. In the end, it ends up being incredibly abstract, and it's fine, but there's better art out there. Better art of my own, including. So anyway. I got sent this message on Tumblr. It was sent, they tried to send it anonymously, but apparently you can't do submissions anonymously, but then they asked in a separate message, hey, can you not credit me for this? If you want credit for it now that I'm talking about it in a video, just let me know in another message, then I'll post the original message that you sent me in order to credit you. But as it stands, I understand where you're coming from. The video is called Art, Furries, and God, so there might be a reason that they want her to be remain uncredited for this. It's from a YouTuber called Patricia Taxon. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It was posted 4 months ago, and it's actually a really solid video. I know the idea that it starts off with a furry YouTuber, VTuber kind of thing, and that it talks about art, furry, and God, that it might be a bit of a turnoff for you, but trust me on this one, it's a really solid 24-minute video about what it is to be an artist. The video is spoilers for this video, and I do recommend that you watch it. The video is about a person talking about how they started using furry imagery in their album art for their music as a way of sort of disarming the listener prior to listening to the song. So that way they would kind of back off a bit. I feel like when you go into a museum, for example, you get this feeling that if you say the wrong thing, you'll sound stupid. You'll sound like an idiot because you're not smart enough to get the art that's in the gallery. And this person's solution to that problem is, being a furry. To them, that works. For me, that doesn't. They also bring up a bunch of other artists who have come up with alternative solutions to this problem of wanting to be serious. They post serious emotions in their music, and yet they want it to be accessible and not be okay, well, this is too heavy for me. And emotionally. That people are not willing to let down their guard enough to listen to the music up until it's sort of almost like a disarming of the self in order to allow other people to enjoy their work and allow them to actually be serious and sincere. Because all too often nowadays, there's definitely an issue where people are insincere in an attempt to try and express themselves, but they can't because they feel like doing so to the fullest ends up, overexposing themselves. Maybe that they feel like they're alone in that emotion. Maybe I'm projecting here. I'm pretty sure I am, actually. I feel like personally that I tread a very fine line of wanting to be able to get the things in my head out, to be understood, but also to not be that vulnerable. And it is a very fine line. I feel like for a lot of artists, a lot of musicians, you have to tackle the fact that most people do not want to be honest with themselves, honest with their emotions, or be able to engage in that depth of emotion so readily. And so Patricia's, and I'm going to call him Patricia because that's their YouTube name. I have not seen any of their other work. But their rationalization or their way of dealing with this issue is just by, I guess appearing like a joke before before anyone has a chance to realize that they're actually being totally sincere the whole time, and that you don't have to have a like PhD in music in order to understand and accept what they're saying there. And that is something I really want to try and embody in my own work. I'm not a furry, so I don't have that out of being able to do it that way. But I don't want people to come into a gallery and then feel like that they can't tell me about like their experience with my work, to be able to talk about my work without feeling like an idiot. There's very few times that I have seen people say something so outrageously stupid about art that it doesn't deserve to be said. I have heard things said by people who with PhDs, with degrees in art, say some of the dumbest stuff about art. And having that like playfulness to begin with, to be allowing yourself to have that depth of emotion is really cool as a concept. And maybe they do a better job of it than I do explaining it. Obviously, they have like 5 times as much time to explain it or whatever. But it's a very solid video. I like the idea of it. As for me, I tread a very fine line of using the things that I say as the titles as things that I'm trying to express, as well as the contents of the art. But I do feel like I'm holding back to some degree in allowing myself to shield myself from harm by not being that open. But I do try and be more open. And there's some pieces that I've done that I'm like, okay, I really got the vibe down. But what Patricia has done here is really interesting, and I want to see if I can try and explore some of the angles that they've talked about here in my own work going forward, by just not necessarily making a joke of it, but not being so like I don't know, stuffy about it. I feel like that people want to be treated as a serious artist. This is something that came up in a recent video by Defunctland, that the video called Disney Channel's Theme, A History Mystery, talking about the person who made the "You're Watching Disney Channel" bum 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 little ditty thing that everyone saw on bumpers for the longest time. It's like an hour and a half long, and there's a lot going on there. But near the end, Defunctland, I'm going to call them that because that's their channel name, talks about how they want to be seen as a person who makes documentaries, not as a YouTuber. Because I feel like being a YouTuber is a lesser title, but they also want to be able to like treat subjects seriously. And I feel like almost that Defunctland needs to watch this Art, Furries, and God video, because you're allowed to be all of the things, you know? Like, to them, it seems like being a YouTuber is a step down, like not as good as being a, you know, a visionary, an artist, a person who makes documentaries, but a person who makes documentaries is a person who makes documentaries regardless of what it is. And I think they do come to that conclusion at the end, that they come to the understanding that, hey, I'm an artist, I'm a person who makes documentaries regardless of the platform that it's posted to. I don't like talking about necessarily video games in spaces where I'm being an artist. Like, I have to segment that part of my life off, because I feel like, you know, artists back in the day, they didn't talk about their hobbies. They didn't do that, but they did. They did. They just didn't have very interesting hobbies. Their hobbies were like drinking and substance abuse. We can talk about our hobbies. We can talk about what it is to be ourselves and to be artists, and have that full breadth of motion and be the artist where we are. If we're on YouTube, I'm on YouTube. I'm making art on YouTube for people to see. I also have a website. It's colinmullen.com. I say it at the beginning of every video. You can buy the art prints there. You can buy the originals there. I am no less legitimate as an artist because I do YouTubing, because I do streaming, because these are the platforms I put it to, because the source of where you get the art is not the vessel that the art is itself. It is not lesser to be an artist who posts stuff on YouTube. It's not lesser to be a documentarian who puts stuff on YouTube. The documentary, it stands on its own weight if it's uploaded to YouTube or shown at Sundance. Either it's good or it's not. And fretting about, like, am I going to be, like, what is my legacy going to be? Will I be treated seriously, or will I be considered just another YouTuber? The concerns about legacy, about how others perceive you through the media that you choose to use, that is an interesting and difficult question that a lot of artists have to deal with. And somehow, this weird video about furries happens to have some of the solutions for me. It's called Art, Furries, and God, and it's by Patricia Taxxon. That's Taxxon. I don't know how they did it, but they nail on the head. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video about me talking about other videos and talking about what it is to be an artist. If you like talking about art, if you like listening to people talk about art, that's what we do here. You can support me on patreon.com/RevScarecrow if you so desire. If you donate $5 or more, I'll throw your name into the credits. That's what the following people did, starting with my mom and dad. Thank you. I love you. Thank you, Wapfu. Thank you, Vox. Thank you, Top Houndor. Thank you, Tom K. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Terry Maverick. Thank you, Snoutpunk. Thank you, Skelecorgi. Thank you, Retrograde. Thank you, Mortis Nautis. Thank you, Micah. Thank you, Maliciousness. Thank you, May. Thank you, Lost Nevada. Thank you, Kayla Hollinger. Thank you, Gala. Thank you, Gabriel Bennett. Thank you, Dragon. Thank you, Chiptune Glitch. Thank you, Bubba Fair. Thank you, Blake. Thank you, Bep. Thank you, BD648. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Acrobus. And thank you, Ats! Good one to end on. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a bit rambly, but it's been something that's been in the back of my head for a while. Treading the line of being open enough and being too open and not being open enough is a difficult line, and not being able to treat oneself seriously because of, preconceived notions on yourself are things that I think about a lot. And it's just interesting that there happened to be two videos in fairly recent memory that both kind of covered those. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do some art, be honest with yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.